Hello friends and welcome here. I am back and today I am talking about childbirth and why I choose to skip the meds and even the hospital altogether. So before I dive in, let me just say first off that having a baby is natural, no matter how you do it, okay? I don't think there's a such thing as an unnatural birth. And I know that the term natural birth can kind of be a trigger for some women. I just kind of want to set the groundwork here and say this is not a video about mom shaming or judging how a baby should be born. You do you, okay? You do what's right for you and your baby. And there's zero judgment on how you go about that. The other thing I need to mention is that my personal history with Western medicine is just not a positive one. I had chronic insomnia and migraines and a pathetic immune system all through my mid-teens to mid-20s. And during that time, I went to the doctor a lot and I tried a lot of medications for a lot of things. And I am just that girl. I'm that girl that has the side effects. I'm the girl that has to try 5, 6, 7 different medications before we find something that works kind of, but then you have to take something else because of a side effect. That is my experience with pharmaceuticals and with going to regular doctors. So by the time I was having babies, I was pretty much over a pharmaceutical approach to my health. I was on a journey of wellness. I had a much more holistic mindset toward taking care of my body. And that really led me down this path. And it, to this day, colors every decision I make for myself and my family in regards to our wellness. And I am in no way dissing doctors or Western medicine. It 100% has its place. It's just not my go-to. It's not the first place I run when I am looking for a solution for my own health. Okay, so that out of the way. My top 5 reasons for choosing an unmedicated and natural approach to childbirth. Are you guys ready? Number 1 is freedom. I'm a Texan, y'all, and I like my freedom. I like being able to do what I want to do. I wanted the freedom to be able to move around however I wanted to move around. I wanted the freedom to eat a snack if I was hungry. I didn't want to be pressured. I didn't want to end up on my back connected to a bunch of monitors, not able to move around, being poked and prodded every 5 seconds, being checked on. That just did not sound good to me. I wanted the freedom to do a water birth if I wanted to do a water birth, which I actually birthed both of my kids in water, and I will probably do a water birth with this guy as well because I've just had such great experience doing that. So that led me to choosing midwifery care over a traditional gynecologist because I would be able to have a lot more freedom in the choices that I can make for myself and for my body and for my baby. Humans are mammals, and in the animal kingdom, a mama goes out and searches for a safe, quiet, protected place to have her babies. And I knew, my gut said, I just want to go through this process and let my body do what it's gonna do. And I don't want people talking to me too much, and I don't want people messing with me too much. And I knew I wasn't going to get that experience in a hospital. Even with a midwife in a hospital, I wasn't going to have the experience of being able to create that environment of quiet and of almost solitude, which is funny because I'm like, hey, if you want to come be in the room with me while I have my babies, I have no shame. I think birth is beautiful and amazing, but don't talk to me. Don't talk to me, don't mess with me. Just let me do my thing. I'm gonna get all zen and get in my groove and do my thing. So that's why I chose to have my babies outside of a hospital environment, because hospitals just have liabilities and protocols that they have to do that I just don't think are necessary in every circumstance. And I feel like it leads to a lot more fear and anxiety. I have had the privilege of working as a birth photographer, and I have photographed hospital births, home births, birthing center births. And from that experience, I knew that I wanted a home or birthing center birth experience. I prefer being in a quiet room versus being in a room with a million machines beeping at me and being checked on every second. So that freedom to create my own environment and freedom to labor in the way that I felt I needed to was really important to me. The second reason is reduced risks of complications. Interventions beget interventions. And it seems like once you start, there's this cascade of interventions that begin, and they're all connected to each other. When you say induce labor with Pitocin, that increases your risk of needing an emergency C-section. It puts you on a timeline that your body just might not have been prepared for. And it also interferes with your body's own hormone cascade, your own release of endorphins and oxytocin that help you manage your labor. So I knew I didn't want to induce, and every single friend of mine who had a traditional care with a gynecologist, all of them were really pressured to induce. Well, not all of them. I think I had a couple of friends who actually went into labor early. That wasn't a thing for them. But anyone who was carrying their baby 40 weeks or more, which is completely normal, especially for your first baby, to go 41 or 42 weeks. And typically, it's completely safe to do that. Are there situations where it's not? Yes. Will a midwife know those? Yes. So then there's the epidural. And probably the biggest question that I get is, why in the world would you not want an epidural? Why would you not want to numb that pain? So some studies indicate that an epidural can lead to an increased risk of perineal tears. There are other studies that say that an epidural actually can triple your chances of needing an emergency C-section. I think that's due to the fact that it can cause the baby's heart rate to lower to a very dangerous level. And a lot of times they can fix that by repositioning the mom, but sometimes they can't, and they just have to get in there and have an emergency C-section. So there's a risk of that. In some cases, they think that epidurals can actually increase the second stage of labor, the pushing stage, by 2 to 3 hours, because the mom can't feel how to move the baby. That oxytocin that needs to release to push that baby out doesn't kick in. And so it increases the length of time that you're actually pushing. So that's certainly not always the case. In some cases, an epidural really can help. It can help relax those pelvic muscles, calm things down enough so that the mom can push the baby out. Because sometimes things are just way too tight in there. And so there are times that an epidural is absolutely beneficial. I'm in no way saying that it's not. But for me, I had several friends who had like botched epidurals where they totally messed it up, and some friends that had some pretty bad side effects, migraines, pelvic floor issues later, sexual dysfunction even. And with my history with Western medicine, with pharmaceuticals and drugs, I didn't want to risk the side effects. No, thank you. I will take my chances with my body's own pain management system. And the thing is, you do have biological coping mechanisms for labor pain, and labor pain serves a purpose. So during labor, you get surges of these endorphins that help with the pain, and you get release of oxytocin that can help you go into that meditative state so that you can really connect with your body and know what you need to do. Interventions like epidurals and Pitocin, they interfere with the release of those hormones, and they can actually make labor more painful. Pitocin, for instance, it's increasing the strength of your contractions, but you're not getting that natural release of those endorphins. So it's actually, a Pitocin contraction is much more painful than an uninduced contraction. A lot of times they have to turn down your epidural during pushing because some women are too numb to be able to push. So they turn that down, and then they don't have all those hormones that would have been there to kind of help them cope with the pain, and it can make it a lot more painful and a lot more scary because it's such an intense feeling when you didn't have those hormones to help you cope with. Reason number 3 is recovery time. Recovery time is much shorter with a vaginal birth than it is with a cesarean. And as I said, Pitocin and epidurals increase your risk of needing a cesarean, plus an epidural can increase your risk of a perineal tear. Not fun. Reason number 4 is that there's some really cool benefits for the baby as well. Some studies have shown that babies that are born vaginally have an improved microbiome. They're exposed to protective bacteria that helps improve their immune system. Unmedicated births are sometimes linked to higher APGAR scores, better heart rate. There's all kinds of really beautiful benefits for baby in a vaginal birth. It can help with the shape of their head, which is interesting because I always thought that babies born C-section would have better heads because they didn't get all squeezed, but apparently like that process is really important for the platelets in your head and stuff. So you can have a cone head, but it goes back. There's even one preliminary study that's linked unmedicated vaginal birth to a boost in brain function. I don't know about that. But what I do know is that if I can avoid exposing my tiny infant child, who I have done everything to protect, if I can avoid exposing my child to medications and interventions, that's what I want to do. I want to avoid that. I want to give them the most natural experience entering this world as I possibly can. And finally, reason number 5 is clout. No, okay. But really, my mom gave birth naturally. I think my grandma did. My mom definitely did. And I just figured, if she could do it, I could do it. I think I had this very natural mindset toward birth. I know that it's a natural biological process. It's not a medical event. Women have been giving birth since the beginning of time, and hospitals haven't even existed that long. So needing to be in a hospital, needing a doctor, I just didn't buy that storyline. I am of the mindset that a woman's body is literally made to do this. We are designed to do this. And most women are able to birth naturally. There are some that can't, but that percentage is tiny. And that's okay. That's why we have these other options. And it's beautiful that those options are available and make a safer way for women who are at risk during birth to have a successful birth where they're safe and their baby is safe, and it's awesome. It's great that that exists. I'm all for it. So I think having that mindset that you can do it is so important. Like, there's a study that shows that women who have fear going into childbirth are much more likely to have complications and need a C-section. So that mindset going in is so important. And I'm super thankful that I was able to go in with an empowered mindset, knowing what my body was capable of. And I really attribute that to, first of all, I'm a total nerd and I research everything. So I definitely read the research on natural birth. I read the research on interventions and educated myself mostly on what I was capable of. And then I have my mom. Thank you, Mom. You set an awesome example. Plus, there's tons of other weirdo, crunchy mamas out there who write about their experiences on the internet. So thank you to you guys as well, because it definitely is encouraging to hear from other women who've gone before you and know that it's not that scary. And it's hard work. It's good work. It's worthy work. And having a natural, unmedicated childbirth is not crazy. It's actually a really beautiful thing to experience your body and to experience the power of what you are capable of, and know that it doesn't have to feel out of control painful, and that there's things that you can do to help with that. And I will do another video on some ways to help navigate pain during labor. So there you have it. It's my top 5 reasons for having an unmedicated natural childbirth. If you found this helpful or interesting, if you liked it, give me that thumbs up, click subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thank you again for listening, and y'all have a great week. Bye.